in Hebrew, you'll never see it if you're looking in Greek, Latin, or English, because it's just not there. They don't render the word over. They don't transfer it out of the Hebrew into these other texts. It's just avoided. If you read Hebrew, you'll see something that you will never see in any other language, from what I understand. If he's saying, I'm the Aleph Tav, then he's saying, I'm the first letter and the last letter. And then if you say, well, there's a Vav in between for the word oat, well, the Vav symbolizes the letter for the man, or the nail, or the hook that which hooks it together. And if he says, I'm the man who hooks together the Aleph and Tav, which is the sworn oath that's described by every letter of the alphabet to be what was described from the beginning to be what would be accomplished by the end. You see, you can read all these different things in Aleph and Tav. But there's more you can do with Aleph and Tav. There's a verse in Isaiah where Yahweh is speaking of what he's going to do to Assyria. He says, these are my plans concerning Assyria. He called them in to beat up Israel. They went too far. And he says, now you guys are going to get in big trouble. And he says, now, as I have planned, so it shall be. And as I have purposed, so it shall come about. Now, if you don't know Hebrew, if you don't know the letters of the alphabet, you read that as just a statement. Okay, so Yahweh says, he planned it, and it's going to happen. He purposed it, and it will arise. It'll come to fruition. So, if you know what the letters Aleph and Tav mean, Aleph means I am or I will. Tav is, that's the end of the contract. It's a done deal. We're all signed off here. And then you go, well, wait a minute. I am or I will. That's kind of like saying, I have planned something. I have purposed in my heart to do something. And when it gets accomplished, that's to Tav the Aleph. So for him to say, as I have planned, so it shall be. As I have purposed, so it shall come about. Is him saying, Aleph Tav, Aleph Tav. Aleph Tav is the signature of Yahweh, who says, the word that proceeds out of my mouth, Aleph, will not return to me void. It will accomplish, Tav, that whatsoever I put it forth to do. And then all of a sudden you go, wait a second. If this truly is Yahweh's signature, you might say, it's sinking here. Then, whenever...
Here, bring it forward just a little, because the
the
wall
back
is
stuck.
keeping it from being a good triad.
Then whenever Yahweh says, when I say something, I'm going to do it, and you can count on it, he's actually telling us Aleph Tav. Whenever he says, in Ezekiel, 80 times, Yahweh says, I'm going to do this. He says, then they'll know that I'm Yahweh.
It's dropping again.
Here. Maybe this will work. Nope, that won't work either. We'll ignore that for a moment. Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, the table.
Okay. If Yahweh himself says, you will know that I'm the guy who's speaking, because when I say something, I'm going to do what I say, and you can count on it. Then when he tells Israel, you're in big trouble, Israel's big trouble. But also, thank you very much, when he tells Israel, you can come back to the covenant, and I'll turn everything around again, then you can count on it, that if Israel comes back to the covenant, he'll turn it all around again. There's a verse in Exodus 20. This is right after he gave the Ten Commandments. And he says, wherever I permit my name to be mentioned, I shall come to you and bless you. Has everybody heard this verse before? Wherever I permit my name to be mentioned. The word name in Hebrew is Shem. But it also, looking at the dictionary, you see some deeper insights. It means fame, renown, reputation. It's the occupation of all your concerns. Well, so somebody might say, what's the name, the Shem of Yahweh? Well, it's Yahweh. Well, not necessarily. Think about this. If Yahweh says, I planned something and it's going to happen, and I've given my sworn oath that it's going to be just like this. I'm going to show you, this is kind of awkward. Here, I'm going to hold this up. I'm going to show you Yahweh's oath, his Aleph Vav Tav, in the alphabet, according to the terms of what the letters mean. This is Yahweh's oath. I'm going to try to kind of freehand this. Here.
Can I hold it for you?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, Aleph.
Good for something.
Okay, the Aleph literally means I am or I will. Yahweh is going to do something. I think my hand left some stuff. Anyway, so Yahweh says, I'm going to tell you, okay, I'll explain again. This is the oath as I read what Yahweh said when he said, I'm going to put my oath, what I swear myself to accomplish, described by, revealed by every letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph literally is an ox, head. If you take a bowling ball, you're now the one who sets up the pins down at the end, and you get on this line, and you take the bowling ball, and you determine the angle and the direction, and you give it a certain force to go down that alley. You are just like taking an ox and yoking it up, and they always put a mark at the end of the furrow for him to plow, and they get him going, and he pulls that plow down to the end of that mark. That's what Aleph is like, setting an ox into motion, who, the reason they use oxen for plowing is they don't waver. They'll stay on track. So Yahweh, like an ox, set this strong thing, this plan, this purpose in motion and not wavering until it's going to get down here to Tav. Okay, but as Aleph, he takes this plan and Bet, a body, a house, there's like an embryonic shape, like a tadpole. He will incorporate it into physical matter. He made the universe. But he also made the alphabet itself as the embodiment of his plan. He also, as the Messiah, put himself into physical form to Gimel. Gimel is an ambassador. In modern Hebrew it has a foot, but in Paleo it's the head and neck of a camel, as it were, which is to say a pipeline. It's also a boomerang shape. It's that which you send out and it comes back. It's like sending out a messenger who goes, delivers the message, and comes back. A truck on the highway goes down, delivers a load, picks up something, comes back, and it go back and forth. It's an ambassador, it's a voyager, dispatcher. So, then you say the next logical progression is, okay, if I have a plan to put something into material form and send it out to start happening, like you see a picture of the spiral galaxy spinning, you know, then to where? Where does it go? To Dalet. Dalet is the Earth. It's the number 4, so you can way to remember that, even though it's shaped in paleo like a triangle, it's the number 4. You got summer, winter, spring, and fall, north, south, east, west, earth, wind, fire, water. Fourness speaks of earthiness. 4 corners.
Why
So,
is the Earth that's 4 corners so shaped like a triangle? I mean,
well,
how would you know that was the Earth if you were just coming across the?
okay, it's also the meaning of the Dalet is a door. Okay, so if you picture it in olden days, if you took an animal skin and you hung it up on a door, you might have the wide part up here and the head hangs down here. It's the top half of a hourglass where the sand in here drops down, goes through this, and fills up down here. There's different imagery in it. I could give you a paper that I wrote up that explains that more fully, but there's reasons to think that the Dalet could be a door, but suffice it to say, it speaks of earthness.
Okay.
It's the 4th letter.
It's the 4th letter. So you could say, I will build the universe, set it in motion, and now concerning the earth, Hey is to reveal, Vav, a man, slain. Now, the letter 7 is a weapon that cuts off. There's a pause, there's a selah. The next letter, Het, is a fence. So you could say, okay, if you're going to have a breaking point here, because this is a weapon and that's a fence, it's like a guard at the gate and you're going to stop. So if you have a selah, which means stop and think about it, these first 7 work in a group. Now, Aleph as a prefix means I will. Bet Gimel Dalet as a word that's spelled bagad literally means clothing. But it's baggy clothing, where we get the word bagged. It's a baggy clothing which camouflages the true form. Hey, revealed as Vav, the man, Zion slain. When Pilate whipped Yeshua to pieces, put the robe and crown of thorns, he said, Ecce homo, Latin for behold the man. Or he might have said, Hine ha-ish, or Hine ishu, which would be the vav at the end of the word ish, which would be saying simply, here's the man. Now, this letter means the, or Hine means is Hin and Yod, which is behold, or this here. Vav would be the man, and Zion is put to the weapon. In spite of anything, by him saying, Hine ha-ish, Ecce homo, he was actually making real this prophecy from ancient days. Behold the man. I will camouflage myself, clothed to look like a man who would be declared to be the man put to the weapon. And het. See, this is the letter He, which is our letter H, but it's our letter E actually because it's the fifth letter. This is the letter het. I write it with a C-X-E-T because it's a gravelly. A lot of people write CH, which is why you have Chanukah, or some people call it a chet. It's confusing. It's not a chet, and it's not an H sound. That's why people call it Hanukkah. It's a gravelly sound of het, because the word for sepulcher, a tomb, can also mean a low, gravelly voice. That's out of the English dictionary. This is a gravelly voice. And I don't know of other languages that use this word as a chet. But Yeshua, when he was slain, was thrown into the tomb, and a big round rock was rolled in front of him and sealed. This is the letter tet, like rolling a seal. It's a combination, you might say, in pictographic form is the ayin, which can be a round circle or with a dot in the middle, and the tav, which means done, and the literally means a full basket. He's fully dead. And the Roman seal was put onto it, and nobody got to open it up. So here you can say, I will give myself a foot to come traveling to walk the earth, my garden estate, to visit, to behold mankind, only they would throw the weapon at me, cut off, thrown into the fence. But the reason I did this was so that they could enter the kingdom of Yahweh and become sealed as my